Austin, right?
Yeah.
So you are stepping it up from the vice president to president soon. Be honest. Is the binder of responsibility terrifying you, or are you ready to rewrite it?
50-50.
Okay.
Reason being, there's a lot to live up to. This has been ran very consistently, this industry, for years. And there's been things that I feel like I would like to see different. And being newer to the industry, when we joined this organization, there were things that I felt like I needed and missed out on. And I want to bring those items to make them readily available for the next group, so that we are consistently bringing people in, welcoming them, and educating them to leave here at this annual conference exactly knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's fearful because of changes, and no one loves changes for the most part, and knowing that there will be changes, and though they might be for the better, it's always tough to make those changes and to justify them. I mean, it's everything. We have to justify everything we do, especially for a nonprofit organization.
You guys use social responsibility as one of your values. What does that actually look like on a Tuesday morning?
I think it starts with people. Mm-hmm. So we have employees that are out there. And I think just the values of what we want to be as a ranch and what we try to be. So, it starts with people, and then it goes to animals. And the way we look responsibility to our animals is, we don't have any hard, defined, engraved in granite rules other than the life of the animals are first. Mm-hmm. So if it means we need to supplement feed, we'll supplement feed. Mm-hmm. If it means doing our own hay, which is mainly what we do, mainly feed everything off of our ranch. And kind of one of the things we do with even our processing, everything that we process is born on our land. And that's part of the responsibilities. We know what went into those animals' lives. And so we know what we're giving you. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to, I guess, social responsibility, it would be that we're being responsible to our customers. I guess this is the social part of the world we interact with the lives those animals live. And that goes to their health, their well-being, from stress levels to food availability. We take soil samples. Bison health really starts in the ground. If you have healthy soil, you have healthy grass. If you have healthy grass, you have healthy animals. So we test soil, we test water. And I guess that's the way maybe that's too round of an answer, but I would say ensuring that the quality that we want to give as far as the lives those animals lived and the health that they had, that we stay true to that.
And I think one other thing to tag on to that is it's a word that's utilized a lot, transparency. Mm-hmm. But it's very much true when you mean it. When we say transparency, we mean you can buy a pack of our meat and then you could drive to our ranch and see exactly what we're doing. There is no, we buy our animals from someone and then we get it processed here. Yeah. All of our meat born on our land, raised on our land. So we can truly guarantee how that animal was raised, what they eat, who their mom was. We can guess who their dad was. So to say we can actually guarantee their feed, guarantee their livelihood, their well-being, their humane treatment, because we're the ones treating it. And so we truly can justify anything we put on a label, anything we could put on our website, because we did it. There is no brokering of animals for us. It's been born on our land. It has a name. I mean, it's transparent as that. And so he likes to tell people a lot that just drive by and see what we're doing. Yeah. That's truly what it is. That's not a show herd and then we're doing large scale processing elsewhere. That is where it's coming from.
What does you being in this leadership position do for the industry?
I would say I've been surprised by the respect I've received by people that have about 5 times more experience than me in traditionally a white, older male type of industry. And so it's been surprising because I've been in leadership roles for some other types of organizations where I'm not as welcomed as here, because when we first joined, it was intimidating again because I was incredibly green. And then to have worked so fast up to a role of leadership. I mean, 7 years ago was our first conference, I think.
Wow.
And I didn't know anything about it, and to now becoming the president, probably the youngest by maybe a few decades. So more so I'd say it's maybe just the age as opposed to the gender. That's been the intimidating part, that I really feel like I owe everyone the best I can be to prove myself, but also to show that a leader can be anyone. If they care and have to drive in the interest to listen, because ultimately what my job is to be a servant. It's to be a servant to the members. It's to hear them out and help them rationalize their thoughts, their feelings, and what they think is best and what would be best for them, and find ways to help make that happen, utilizing the resources that the association has. And I think anyone can do it, but it is still a little, shocking when you look at, say, myself, my age, my experience, my gender, compared to the rest of the pool of phenomenal candidates or past presidents.
Yeah.
And they have treated me like I was nothing other than just identical to them. And it's been, to me, that is the highest honor.
What does your age add to the perspective that might have been missing for the last 20 years in the association?
The future of this industry. There is, and I think it goes through most of ag. Everyone's kind of saying rural America's dying. A lot of kids are leaving for college and not coming back home to the ranches and the farms like they used to for generations. And so I think that's an issue across the board. And I think that's an issue specifically our small industry has noticed too, is while we put a lot of focus to what we're currently doing and not a lot of focus into the future of our industry. And I think the last couple of years, they've really been trying to, how do we attract in people? How do we convince this kid in college to, after college, get into ag? Not only get into ag, get into bison. And how do we show them all the different opportunities that come? You can be a bison rancher. You can be in agritourism with bison. You can do meat companies. You can do full sale, distribution, production. There's so many different outlets within the bison industry, and trying to show that as an attractive lifestyle, an attractive career option to people who will still be able to be doing this 40 years from now, so that this industry doesn't die out with all the other folks out there that have built it to be so commanding as it is. We want to make sure that we continue that and then grow it more. And so I think that is a lot of what really attracted me to the leadership type roles. Is we've got to make this last forever. We've got to make this grow, which means we have to find more people that are 50 years, 40 years old, 30 years old, 20 years old, and try to get it back into the generational thing. And if you go walk around out there, there's people with their young kids with them, which is great. It's fun to see, because ideally those kids will be sitting in these seats 20 years from now, where they just bought their range from mom and dad.
Yeah.
And so I think for a while there was a little bit of the lack of focus of the next generation, and now it's very much a focus and an interest as well. I think people are very excited about finding new folks to represent the industry.
Wives, moms, people that are getting into the industry. What's the one thing about bison that instantly wins them over?
Gosh, I mean, I would say health for me, first and foremost, the quality of the product. I very much care about my health, vitamins, supplements, all that stuff, annual blood work. And so for me, what's been really cool is seeing how we eat bison 5 times a week now. No longer take B12 shots. I don't have to take iron supplements. I'm in the 99th percentile for iron. And that's not just as women. That's worldwide.
That's phenomenal.
And that's bison. Incredibly low cholesterol, but also we're very, very active, both ranging, and we like to work out. So high protein. And so now I'm just not having to supplement with vitamins. And so think about if you get your kids, like to the wives, the mothers, the parents out there, if you get your kids on a diet that's healthy, just imagine how much better they'll be set up, physically in the future. And so I think it's it's a very healthy lifestyle choice that you can make into you're in the bison industry if you're shopping. If you're buying bison, to me, you're in the bison industry. You are supporting our industry. Yeah. So that's a great place to start. Again, that's how we started, looking for healthy food, and now we're ranchers of it. So that would be my opinion.
Can you speak to your health, before finding bison?
tired.
Okay.
Definitely sluggish, more tired, and that's why I was getting monthly B12 shots, taking all the multivitamins you could, just thinking that fix all the issues. And iron being a big thing, you know, as a woman, my mom was always talking about calcium, iron, all these things. I think my mom was putting me on supplements so I was a kid. Just, you know, you're a woman, you got to take care of yourself. And to now see that eating right actually from the ground up, I mean, that's functional wellness, right? Fixing all health issues by what you're putting into your body first and foremost. And that you don't have to buy these third-party supplements. And it just kind of started changing. I started feeling better and I was having more energy. And then I go to my doctor and do my annual blood work, and all of a sudden all these numbers are up. He's like, so much so that you should maybe slow down on whatever you're doing. I said, well, I've changed my diet. So he's like, well, then just start taking supplements. And sure enough, it stayed just as high. So I would say it's very much been the change of energy that has been very noticeable. Just feeling healthier, feeling better.
Yeah. Sure. That's awesome. What about you, Austin?
You know, I grew up eating animals that we raised and wild game. I don't know that I would point to anything specific about it, but I will say from customers that we have, specifically women, and maybe to follow up on what you said earlier about what brings women into bison.
Yeah.
And I would say it's just health is the biggest thing we hear back from people, but especially women that have problems with their hormones or they've had issues with birth control and their cycle. I think a lot of people don't realize that most beef has hormone pellets put in them. Whoa. And those hormone pellets are not just in the meat, it's in the organs, it's in the tissues. If you are getting supplements derived from those animals, there's a chance those hormones are in there. And so we have, I would say for a small company, a lot of women that buy bison from us specifically because they have no hormones in it and they can eat it and it doesn't disrupt the way they feel. It doesn't throw off their emotions and their hormones the way that other red meat or maybe specifically beef can. And so bison, it's illegal to put hormone pellets in them. And so if you are eating bison or bison derived, supplements, you could eliminate that possibility of that's something that's interacting with your body. So it's just a clean, and again, back to the reason we got into it, it's a clean, good source of protein of meat. Yeah. So I don't have anything specific I would list for me other than I do think, eating wilder is better. And bison, they haven't been bred to be fatter, to have higher fat contents. If you look at just a pound per pound, bison is either twice as much protein or half as many calories. And so it's a dense meat, and it's probably the closest thing to wild game you can get outside of wild game.
Right.
I've always loved the tagline, rewild your diet. And this is a prime example. And you just hold up a piece of meat, a bison meat that's been raised, right? And gosh, all bison, you just look at it and you can just see. You can see the nutrients. You can see the lack of fat. You can see the lack of additives. It's just a good hunk of meat, for lack of better words.
More protein, less fat. Grain-finished bison has less fat than grass-finished beef. And so it's just a dense, and it's like she said, it's high in vitamin B, iron, selenium. If you go down the nutrient profile list, it's a very potent source of nutrient and health, really.
Yeah. So sometimes people say it's a low fat thing. Well, it's not just that, it's nutrient dense as well, which you can't say necessarily for all the proteins. A lot of the other proteins that tout like, it's grass fed, so it's going to be lower in fat. Still doesn't necessarily mean you're adding all of those vitamins and nutrients like iron, selenium, and B12 and all those aspects. So it's twofold. It's low fat and it's nutrient dense.
When you say the hormone pellets, right? Yeah. What are these hormone pellets?
I don't know it.
Yeah.
It's so we're mammals, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like we have a lot in common with all mammals.
Yes.
We're pretty closely related to all of them, really. And so one of the big things that divide us up is our temperature, or body temperature, right? So a lot of animals have much higher body temperature than we do. One of the reasons so many diseases aren't as communicable. But a lot of the treatments are the same. Ivermectin We've been giving Ivomec to cattle, I don't know, since the 80s, 70s, you know, as a dewormer. We'll give it to people. It won the Nobel Prize for curing river blindness. One of the reasons it was touted during COVID is it has this antiviral activity where it brings zinc and stuff to the cells. So those hormones are basically the same. The steroids that a lot of bodybuilders take, like Winstrol, those were used in horses, right? Because we're closely related.
Yeah.
And it's very similar. So if you're somebody that's on hormone replacement therapy, they might make a pellet for you and stick it under your skin.
Oh, yes.
Right.
That is a thing. Yeah. Now we're saying that. There's a men's hormone clinic, and
It's just more convenient than taking a shot every day. Well, in animals, you want to give them shots every day, so they give them pellets. So most of the beef in our country, for a myriad of reasons, you go back to mad cow, that has a big impact on it. And that was basically the disgusting industrial like manufacturing of animals. They were grinding up spinal and bone matter because it has protein in it, and they're feeding it back to animals. Well, if you eat the spinal and brain matter of your own species, it can cause what people call Jacobs Crutchfield disease, mad cow, corvids get it. It's chronic wasting disease in deer. So all those things happen, and we say we have to slaughter beef younger. 99% of beef are slaughtered before 18 months in this country. And most of them are steers, and you castrate them. That keeps them from fighting. I don't know if this is PG, but there's a term like for pigs. It's called a bar hog. So if you catch wild pigs, and you big boar, you can castrate them, and they'll notch its ear. And about 6 months later, the thick shoulder pads they grow of cartilage because they're fighting goes away. Some of the muscularity goes away. The smell of them goes down some, and they'll see that tag and they'll shoot it. It's supposed to be one of the best eating ones. Steers tend to be better eating than bulls, they think, in a lot of those markets. They call them bar hogs. But you take the testosterone away, they don't develop the muscle as fast. And so what they do in the cattle industry is they castrate them, and then they put hormone pellets in them. They put them on steroids and growth hormones. So they know they're going to gain 3 pounds a day. Like if you look at the industrial...
So we're getting like secondhand by consuming that.
Yes. Yeah. That hormone's in them. The same reason like when you look at antibiotic free.
Yeah.
All that means is if you gave it that antibiotic, you waited the 90, the 30, the 120 days, whatever's on the label, that you have to wait until slaughter.
Yeah.
So you can give it that, and if on the label it says you can't slaughter for 120 days, at 121 days, you can slaughter that animal and say no antibiotic.
And put on the label rape without antibiotics.
So the physiological, biological, microbiome damage, all of that's done. Right?
Yeah, it's already have.
Wow.
You're right. So it's like the grass finished versus grass fed. Well, all of them are grass fed. Most were born in pastures, and they ate grass at one point. But that doesn't mean that's what the makeup of that carcass once it ends up slaughtered. Yeah. So what they do is they put them on hormone pellets. They have an exact ratio that they know they can feed them to get those gains. Yeah. So they're buying animals, and they're trying to make fractions of pennies a pound, but they're dealing with millions of pounds. And so they put those hormones in them. So those animals have those hormone pellets in them, and that's how they're going to get those gains.
Wow.
And so it's so interesting is when we do work, we have a farmer's market that we do. And even when we've gotten bigger and, ship nationwide, it's still what we've learned is it would be such a disservice to our community. 99% of what we do at that farmer's market is education. And we are face to face talking to people about it. And every single time people are shocked just about by everything we say, like what we've been saying to you. Because you just don't really find that information many places. But the thing that we heard most often is most women don't eat very much red meat. It just doesn't settle with them well. And they'll always come back and be like, but I tried a bite of my husband's bison and I felt fine. So then I took another bite. She's like, so now we're here and I'm going to buy steak for myself. And it just kind of kept going. And it was like, wait a second, we know the reason for this. And it's the amount of hormones that are just already in that meat are messing with whatever naturally is in your body, or if women are supplementing with other types of hormones, it's enough in that meat that it is making minor adjustments in your own body. Yeah. It's just crazy. What you eat it truly affects your body. And eating a clean meat in bison is just naturally raised so much cleaner than most other products out there. And it changes your body in such a positive way.
I can tell you guys are really, really embody the transparency of what you guys do at Benjamin Lee Bison. Why'd you guys choose to open them? What's the risk and the reward of letting the customer see everything?
Listen, you're raising animals.
Yeah.
There's parts of it that people aren't going to like. There's parts of it we don't like.
Yeah.
As far as why we would open the doors ourselves, I don't know. I guess the golden rule. I mean, if we go back to factory farming, I said on the front end of it, there's parts of it that's weird and gross.
Yeah.
It's also the only way we can feed the number of people we feed in this country as cheap as we feed them. I don't think that we have to lie about what we're doing to do it.
Yeah.
I think most people would still buy it. It's like you ask people about, I don't know if you remember when Nike got in trouble, like in the 90s, it's sweatshop labor. There's a whole lot of things that went into that. Like if you paid them more, people would kill each other for those jobs. Like they don't make that much money a day.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, people didn't really not buy Nikes, right? People talk with their mouths and they vote with their wallets.
Yes.
That's how the real market works. And I think that even though people wouldn't like if they saw everything that goes on in factory farming, would it change their buying habits that much? I don't know. But we didn't have a status quo that relied on that. And so it was very easy for us at the opening just to say, here's what we do. Here's how we raise them. And we want to value the lives these animals live. We don't put them in feedlots. We don't, even when we do supplement feed, it's all free choice.
Yeah.
And that's the bargain that we chose to make.
Yeah.
And so is there a downside to it? Yeah, it's a little more expensive to do, and not everybody really appreciates it. People will say, back to, talk with your mouth and mow with your wall, people will say they like those things.
Yeah.
Will they spend more? So we've had grain finished next to grass finished. And people will talk about how much they like grass finished. They pick those two steaks up there. Man, I really like the fat on this one. You know what I mean? And so, is there a downside? Not at our scale, really. Are people, some people really appreciate it, some people don't. And we're small though. We're not looking for everybody. We're looking for the people that are interested in what we're doing.
The people where we can make a direct impact. And one of those things, about opening up ourselves, to the public and to our customers or potential customers, as you talk about the conservation side of things. And yes, we do process animals for meat. Do I wish we could have the meat and not have to process the animals? Well, sure. Absolutely. And so that is when you kind of tiptoe around those complicated, tough situations or questions. We have a skull that we have on display at, the farmer's market. The kid's like, well, how did it get here? Well, I look at the parents like, you got to have this conversation. I'm not the one trying to bear the bad news to your kid. Or they ask, well, where'd the meat come from? And so we get a lot of people saying, well, I can't believe you would even consider yourself to be, conserving bison, or a part of this, conservation movement when you're killing them. I said, well, I do get what you're saying. What we do is very humane. The treatment, they're living a fabulous life on our pastures and running around, and they play tag with each other. They're living a good life. However, say, for example, we have 1,000 animals. We're processing 10% of that 1,000 a year. We are now conserving 100 animals a year. We would not have those 900 animals if it wasn't for the ability to process that 10%, those 100. So we're still a net positive of 900 animals than we would have ever been, would have been zero if we didn't have the opportunity to make a byproduct, sell it, and then also do a disservice if we're not offering this byproduct, knowing how healthy it is. But this is also how people have been feeding themselves off this land for forever, with the natives. And so I always try to tell people that is we're still conserving. Those 900 animals are 900 plus animals that we would have never had if we didn't have the opportunity to also be able to provide this phenomenal side product.
Yeah.
And so that's always a tough question. And we always were prepared for it on a very regular basis.
That's one, because I have it right here. The consumers today are skeptical, but here's sustainable and roll their eyes. How do you prove it? Walk us through the journey.
I think we should be more honest and more in people's face about it.
Yeah.
If you look at most of the animal progress that's been made, let's go to wild animals, snow geese.
Okay.
Geese hunters are who solved that problem. Wood ducks.
Tell us about a little
The
bit.
snow geese, you weren't allowed to hunt. 20 years ago, you couldn't hunt them anymore. They were just disappearing. And we figured out it had to do with some farming practices as a candidate. Some very easy changes that now snow geese, I think, is the only federal animal, migratory species that you could shoot with machine guns. You can use electronic calls. There's no limit on. There's too many of them.
Yeah.
Wood ducks, same thing. Wood ducks were disappearing, and it was duck hunters that realized we've done too much cleanup around some of these like water areas, and they started putting these PVC pipes, like 6 or 8 inch PVC pipes, a foot to 2 feet off the ground or off the water line. They just started putting them up. Wood duck populations every covered. If you look at what we know about deer species today, a lot of that's done by what QDMA, the Quality Deer Management Association. It's these people that hunt the animals that know more about them than almost any of these environmental lunatics. That's who lived and breed those species. They know about them. They know their habits. They know what they do. Like, it's those people that are in it. And it's people like us that raise bison. Like, the idea that we don't love them because we slaughter them. Nobody would make that claim about Native Americans.
No,
they hunted them.
Never. Yeah.
But how is that different? Like, we know more about these animals, what they need to be successful,
Yeah.
what makes them happy, and what makes them like dishappy. Like, we live with these animals.
It's a livelihood.
And the idea that you like them less because you slaughter some of them is absurd. And that's a conversation I would just head on with anybody that would challenge us about it. Is like the idea that you could possibly know more or care more about these animals. Listen, you've never pulled a calf. You've never had to shoot a wounded one, like one that we got hurt. Like, you have no idea what we have invested in that land and those animals. I find it an absurd notion and very myopic generally. If you're not looking at the whole picture of what's going on, if that's a position you could conjure up.
It's truly more of an honorable process in the long run.
As you take the reins of the NBA, what is the legacy you want to start building on day one?
I don't want to leave a legacy.
Ooh, okay.
I would be fine if no one even knew my name. Because my role is to be a servant. The less they hear from me, the more it's happening naturally on the back end. And that's what I really want to see is things just feeling like people are getting out of it what they want. People are getting out of it what they need, and not having to put a name to it. And so for me, I don't want to leave a legacy. I just want to improve upon it and I guess make this industry larger and more successful than how I entered it. But I would be fine if no one knew my name.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, you two?
I hope she leaves a legacy. I hope she leaves the legacy of competition. Make the NBA, make it more competitive. Make people, the ranches more competitive.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Give people tools.